Then I'd like to say to all of the people that's watching us live on the internet, good afternoon. And as always, it is good to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. And this is the Sabbath day also. Now, this is the memorial of the blowing of the trumpet, sisters and brothers. This day reminds us of what the Lord is going to do when he comes, how he's going to do it. And this is a day, we have some people that's feasting on this day. This is not a feast day, even though it come under these are the Lord's feast. The Day of Atonement is under these are the Lord's feast. And what people don't understand, to distinguish the feast days, the Lord called them out and named them. When he said 3 times a year, you should hold a feast to me. And that is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of Weeks, which is called Pentecost, and the Feast of Tabernacle, which is called Ingathering. Those are the 3, sisters and brothers. People doing it today, but I'm going to tell you something. As we're going to learn, when these trumpets get to blowing, the last thing you're going to have on your mind is eating. Because no matter when it happens, it is drama and fear. Now, I've seen a lot of scared people, and I haven't seen a real frightened person thinking about eating. All they're thinking about is getting away from something. But these things, sisters and brothers, the Lord have it laid out. The reason I'm saying is because you have people call me all last week, is this a feast day? Then they're going to tell me this is a feast day. Then they're going to take me into Nehemiah and show me where Nehemiah should rejoice on this day. I said, yeah. And he said, eat and drink and be merry and send your friends. I said, look, if your family and your friends if there was a feast day, you wouldn't have to send them nothing. They'd be here. You know, that's why the Lord tell you get wisdom and knowledge, but with all your getting, get understanding. Plus, he named the 3. I used to think a long time, well, look, we have to hold meeting on Passover and memorial of the blowing of the trumpets and Day of Atonement. Why are you going to tell me just 3? What about these 3? Because they are not feast days. It's all that simple, even though the Passover is kind of like a feast within itself. But the Lord named the 3, sisters and brothers. I just want you to understand that. I wouldn't even be mentioning this if I didn't get all these phone calls. Well, do we feast tomorrow? Or either somebody on some other camp, well, we feast tomorrow. I said, good for you. But we don't. But we're going to start this because I say all the time, these days, these feast days, in the 23rd chapter of Leviticus, are the plan of God. He is letting you know how he is going to operate. I've said it over and over, and I still say it. If you understand the feast days and the 23rd chapter of Leviticus, then you know what God is doing. He has revealed it to us through his word. And this is what we have to do. Look at his word. The Lord will tell us. That's why I tell people all the time when certain things come up. Like I said, what should we do on this day? What do you mean? Well, what should we do? I said, go read it. He said, do no servile work on this day. Well, where do we go from there? I said, to another day. Everybody wants you to add something or add lip on the word of God. I do not do that. I don't give my opinion. I figure if God wanted you to do something else or something less, then he would have put it there. So we just leave it alone. You can't go nowhere else with it. Now we're going to start this in 23rd chapter of Leviticus. And we're going to start reading at verse 1, 23 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them,
go ahead,
concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts.
See, now these are the Lord's feasts, sisters and brothers. These are not the Jews' feast. These are the Lord's feasts. I tell people all the time, when you go back and you look when the Lord instituted them, he will tell you these are his feasts. These are not the Jews' feasts. Not even Israel's feast. It's the Lord's feast. So if you are a servant of the Lord, I don't care who you are, where you are, or what pedigree you're supposed to be, you're supposed to be observing this day. Skip down to verse 4 and go ahead.
These are the feasts of the Lord.
These are the feasts of the Lord.
Even holy convocations, which you shall proclaim in their season.
And you have to do it in their season. You cannot do anything anytime you feel like it, because each one of them represents something, sisters and brothers. But now we're going to get down to this day, the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. Let's go, skip down to verse 23. Down to verse 23 and go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, and the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets and holy convocation.
He said you should have a Sabbath, a memorial of the blowing of the trumpet and holy convocation. This is a Sabbath day, sisters and brothers. But then the Lord tells you what to do with it. What verse are we?
We're at 25.
Go ahead.
You shall do no servile work therein.
You shall do no servile work therein. Servile means that you don't go on your job. Servile means you're serving somebody. Whether you're serving in a house or whether you work on General Motors or whether you work at the steel mill. That's servile work. You should not do any on this work, on this day. Go ahead and read.
But you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Now, we don't do that anymore, sisters and brothers, since Jesus died. Then again, too, if you go out and offer something, you'll be in jail before you can light the fire. So we don't try to offer nothing. Believe me, we got Israelites that try that now. Believe me, we got some crazy Hebrew Israelites out here. Now, we're going to pursue this because this is the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. God put stuff like in here because the trumpets cause a reaction. It announces, it don't cause, it announces a reaction. So like the coming of the king. That's why when Jesus comes, trumpets are going to be prevalent. But let's go and show you now when the Lord got ready to come down and deal with Israel and give them the commandments. Let's see what happened when he got ready to give them the commandments. Let's go into Exodus, the 19th chapter. Exodus chapter 19. Because the Lord lays everything out because he wants you to understand what he is doing. And there ain't no reason for us not to understand. All we got to do is read the book and take it for the way it's written. Don't try to add nothing to it. Don't try to expand on it. Just read it. Exodus the 19th chapter, we're going to start reading at verse 10. Exodus 19 and verse 10. Because the Lord is getting ready to give his commandments to Israel now. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes. And be ready against the 3rd day.
Go ahead.
For the 3rd day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai.
He says, now I want you to go and tell these people to sanctify themselves. Wash their clothes. Well, I guess God don't like dirty and stinky. Because I'm going to come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. Skip down to verse 14. Verse 14 and go ahead.
And Moses went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said unto the people, Be ready against the 3rd day, come not at your wives.
And okay, said, then don't come at your wives, because the Lord don't want nothing that's going to run him up. Go ahead and read.
And it came to pass on the 3rd day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled.
Now look, it says thunder and lightning, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud. And that's how the people trembling. Go ahead and read.
And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God. And they stood at the nether part of the mount.
Ain't that something? He brought all Israel to meet with God, sisters and brothers. Because the Lord said, I'm coming down and deliver this myself. Go ahead and read.
And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire.
Go ahead.
And the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly.
Go ahead.
And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long, and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by a voice.
Ain't that something? And the voice of the trumpet. They sound long and got louder and louder. That's all they was hearing was them trumpets blowing, sisters and brothers. Because the trumpet was announcing the coming of the Lord, sisters and brothers. And it's not going to be no different in the last days. So the people listened, and then the Lord, Moses spoke, and the Lord answered him. And what did the Lord do? He gave Israel his 10 commandments. We're not going to deal with the 10 commandments. We're just dealing with the trumpets today. And let's see what happened. How long? Let's go into Exodus, the 20th chapter. Exodus chapter 20, and we're going to get down, and we're going to read verse 18. Because after he had given the 10 commandments, the people couldn't stand no more. Verse 18, go ahead.
And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off.
That's a light way saying they ran off. Because they saw the thunder and the lightning and the smoke and the sound of the trumpets. That announced the coming of the Lord. When he came down in all of Israel and stood up on Mount Sinai. Sisters and brothers, Israel is a microcosm for the whole world. Whatever the Lord did for Israel, the whole world have to be a part of it. Now let's go and see what else trumpets mean. Let's go into Numbers, the 31st chapter, because we've given you some of the things that happened. Because these things that's going to happen, they're always announced by the trumpet. The Lord don't sneak up on nobody. He don't have to sneak up on you. He's going to let you know that he is coming. And whatever he do, he announces it. One thing about God, he don't have to backdoor nobody. He's going to tell you straight up, and you can't do nothing about it. Numbers 31, we're going to start reading at verse 31. Numbers 31, and we're going to start reading at verse 31. Because the people now, they're getting ready to go to war. Because God's going to send them to deal with somebody for what they did to Israel. Verse 31, go ahead and read.
31 and 1.
Verse 1, I'm sorry. Chapter 31, verse 1. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites.
Go ahead.
Afterwards shalt thou be gathered unto thy people.
Now the Lord, he had something against the Midianites. So he said, after you get that, Moses, then you're going to die. Go ahead and read.
And Moses spake unto the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against the Midianites and avenge the Lord of Midian. Of every tribe 1,000, throughout all the tribes of Israel, shall ye send to the war.
So we're going to send 12,000 soldiers to the war. Go ahead and read.
So there were delivered out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war.
Go ahead.
And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, to the war with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand.
See, not only did the soldiers go, they're going to war, the priests had to go also with the trumpets to blow. Because nothing happened until the trumpets are blown, sisters and brothers. The Lord is letting us know that. So this thing about the Lord going to ease up and he going to steal you off the earth when he comes, people have misunderstood when he said 2 women going to be grounded at the mill. One going to go and the other one going to be left. That ain't going to be like all of a sudden you're going to look around, what happened to her? You're going to know something's going on. In fact, all this drama going to be going down. When she leaves, you ain't going to notice her. You're going to be too busy worrying about what's going to happen to you. So now when they went to war, got a 12,000 going to deal with the Midianites. Who went with them? The priests with the trumpets, sisters and brothers. The priests with the trumpets. Now when the Lord brought Israel across the Jordan River, and the first one they took on was the walls of Jericho, the city of Jericho. So let's look and see how Joshua and them assaulted Jericho. Let's go into the book of Joshua. Book of Joshua. Every time we observe this day, it has reminded us what the Lord did in the past and what he is going to do in the future. This is what I like about the Word of God. It don't leave you blind if you decide you want to see. All you got to do is look. People that don't see, that's because they don't look, sisters and brothers. People are always trying to find a way to circumvent the Word of God. Like if I change it, it's going to make a difference. Only difference it's going to make is with you. It's all that simple, sisters and brothers. Joshua 6 And we're going to start reading at verse 1. Joshua 6 and verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in.
Because everybody was scared. Because they knew that Israel, they knew what God did with Israel. Then you got a people too that the Lord done split a sea for, and then he done dried up a river and let them come across. You know that God's on their side. So everybody was in Jericho, they were shut up with nobody come in or go out. Right. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto Joshua, see, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor.
Go ahead.
And you shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days.
He's not given Jericho into you. Everybody's scared. It's yours for the taking. But I'm going to tell you how I want you to do it. I want you to surround the city 6 times. And do what? Go ahead and read.
And the 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horn. And the 7th day you shall compass the city 7 times. And the priest shall blow with the trumpet.
He said, now you're going to have 7 priests. Going to have 7 trumpets of ram horn. And you're going to surround the city 7 times. And every time you do it, a priest going to blow the trumpets. It's not an accident that it's 7 of them. Go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye hear the sound of the trumpet,
go ahead,
all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat.
Go ahead.
And the people shall ascend up every man straight before him.
Now, he said, look, on the 7th time, you're going to have the people going to blow loud with the trumpet and long. Then the people going to shout, and the wall of Jericho going to fall flat. The trumpets call it, sisters and brothers. This is assault on Jericho. Go ahead and read.
And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord.
Now this is one of the biggest things that's overlooked. You get the trumpets, and here comes the ark of the Lord. The Lord, the ark represents the coming of the Lord. So the Lord comes after the trumpets, sisters and brothers. So the 7 priests went with the trumpet before the ark of the Lord. Go ahead and read.
And he said unto the people, pass on, and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, and the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns passed on before the Lord, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them.
Now they did at that time. Skip down to verse 12 now. Verse 12 and go ahead.
And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord. And 7 priests bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord went on continually, and blew with the trumpets, and the armed men went before them. But the reward came after the ark of the Lord, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpet.
So they started blowing with the trumpet. Boy, I bet I can imagine what what was going through their mind. Boy, we in trouble now. Skip down to verse 15 and go ahead.
And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times.
Go ahead.
Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times.
Now they on the 7th day. They instead of compassing it 1 time and going back to the camp, they did it 7 times this time on that day on the Ark of the Covenant. And let's see what happened. Go ahead and skip down to verse 20. Verse 20 and go ahead.
Don't do 16.
But verse 16?
Yeah.
Verse 16, I'm sorry. Verse 16, go ahead.
And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, shout, for the Lord hath given you the city.
So now when they did 7 times, they surrounded 7 times, and when he did it the 7th time, Joshua told the people, shout, because the Lord has given to him. Let's see what happened when the people shouted. Skip down to verse 20 and go ahead.
So the people shouted when the priest blew with the trumpet. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat. So that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city.
It's going to be on the same order with the whole world, sisters and brothers. The 7 trumpets. 7 priests blew the 7 trumpets. Then the people gave a shout, and the walls of Jericho fell flat. That's the way the world going to fall at the end of these trumpets. Now let's go and look at when Jesus is getting ready to come now. Let's go into Revelation, the 6th chapter. And maybe we'll see something very familiar here. Revelation chapter 6. Because this day is here. That's what a lot of people call it. Well, what do we do on the day of trumpet, a day of a memorial of the drawing of the trumpet? I said, tune in and find out. We just don't get here. And like some people now, you got them like Edom in some other camp. They got these, what do they call these longhorns?
Shofar.
Shofar. They run around blowing a shofar. And ain't teaching nothing. Come on, God ain't no vain God. Everything he do have a reason. You have to get this in your mind, sister and brother. Everything God do is for a reason. Every move he make and had it written is for a teaching point. So he can prepare you to be ready when he comes. Instead of just running around blowing goat's horns and ram horns. I remember when I went to camp one time and I saw one at the camp. I told him, you blow that, I'm going to fire you. because, hey, we're about straight up reality. We don't do fairy tales in the Israel of God. Revelation 6, and we're going to start at verse 12. Revelation 6 and 12. Revelation 6 and 12. Okay, go ahead.
And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood.
This is when the Lord's getting ready to come now. The sun turned black, the moon turned red, and the stars fell. Go ahead and read.
And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind.
Go ahead.
And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. And every mountain and island were moved out of their places.
Now, does this look like it's going to be a secret coming here? All of a sudden, the sun go out, the moon turn red, stars falling. But I understood what Peter really explained it when he said when the heavens are going to be on fire. That's because some of the stars would bigger than the earth. But what's going to happen is, trying to make this entry into this atmosphere, they're going to burn, going to look like the heavens is aflame. Then what else is going to happen? Go ahead and read.
And the kings of the earth.
And the heavens going to roll back like a scroll, sisters and brothers. When you roll back like a scroll, then everybody going to see the Messiah sitting there. And when they see it, what are the kings of the earth going to do? Go ahead and read.
And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains.
Go ahead.
And said unto the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb.
Now look, sisters and brothers, that's when they're going to realize that this thing is for real. You see, people making a joke out of this. I saw a guy on TV the other night. I ain't going to call his name. Talking about he's a atheist. You understand? He said, what did he call himself? Or some kind of, in other words, let you know he was sure enough atheist. And he ain't scared of burning in hell. That sounds like a brave statement, but you know what? That's a foolish statement. So now, he and other people that think like him, when they see this, they're going to know that this thing is for real. And instead of saying, God, please forgive me, their wickedness is going to make them run and try to hide. They don't know that the rocks and fall on them ain't going to help them. Because if they kill you, he's just going to wake you up and do you anyway. Go ahead and read.
For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?
Who ever heard of the wrath of the Lamb in the other churches? He ain't got no wrath because he loves everybody. All you got to do is believe in Christ and you're going to be saved. But the book tells you, like James said, you believe that there's a God, the soul is Satan. And he trembled. That means he knows what's going on. So now, when the heavens roll back, the Lord is getting ready to bring wrath on the people that have been bringing wrath on his saints during the great tribulation, sisters and brothers. Because it's going to be rough. For the people that are not in the wilderness, it's going to be rough on them. They're going to want you to receive a mark of the beast. So if you don't receive this mark, then you ain't going to be able to buy or sell. They're going to kill people in front of you, behead people, because the book talk about those that was beheaded. In your presence, they're going to do a lot of stuff to run you up from serving God and taking hold of this paganism, or this greatest occult on the planet. They always tell them, boy, y'all in a cult. No, I'm going to tell you something. The greatest occult on the planet is Catholicism. That's a cult. You understand? Then she created a whole lot of little bitty cults. So when the Lord getting ready to bring his wrath, he is not going to let the people that have suffered under the hand of the beast and false prophet suffer under his hand. Let's go into Revelation, the 7th chapter. And we're going to start reading at verse 1. Revelation 7 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth.
Go ahead.
That the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
So now the Lord getting ready to hurt this earth, but he got these 4 angels. He said, look, I want to keep all these nations calm. I don't want you to let nothing happen until I seal my servants in their forehead. And he started to seal them. Go ahead and read.
And I heard the number of them which were sealed. And there were sealed 144,000 of the tribes of the children of Israel.
Now that's 144,000 of the tribes of the children of Israel. Skip down to verse 9 and read it.
After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands.
See, you always hear people talk about the 144,000. But the people that talks about it don't understand that this ain't the only 144,000 in the book. But then again, you cannot talk about this 144,000 by themselves. You also will seal a number that no man could number out of every kindred, tongues, and nation. These people that converted during the Great Tribulation. How do I know? Skip down to verse 13. Verse 13 and go ahead.
And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they?
What are these that are arrayed in white robes, and where did they come from? Go ahead and read.
And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, these are they which came out of great tribulation.
These are they that have survived the great tribulation. Go ahead and read.
And have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb.
And they have washed their robe and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. That let me know that they wasn't there when they went there. But after the holiest man on the planet brought a time so bad on the earth that there was never a time that bad before it and shall never be after it, then they say, hey, they was looking for God. They looked for their maker, and they looked for him with respect in their eyes. They converted, and they survived the Great Tribulation. That's 144,000 of Israel. These are the people that was directly in the line of fire, sisters and brothers. That's not all Israel that's going to be saved. And that other number that no man can number, they got converted during the Great Tribulation. But the Lord sealed them, sisters and brothers. Why did he seal them? Because he's going to make sure that the people that suffered by the hand of this false prophet and the beast were not suffered by his hand. Now, once everything, his people were sealed, now let's see what happened. Let's go into Revelation, the 8th chapter. Revelation chapter 8 and verse 1. 8 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour.
Go ahead.
And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets.
Wait a minute. 7 angels that stood before God with 7 trumpets? How many priests was it?
7.
How many ram horns did they have?
7.
Because the Lord is letting you know this is the way I'm going to do this thing. Sometimes I tell people all the time, when you are confused in the present or with something that you see might come in the future, go back to the past. Peter told you the same thing. He said, we have a more sure word of prophecy. I tell people every time somebody try to trap you up and get you messed up in Paul's writing, read what Peter said, then go back and see what the prophets say about it. Because he said, I have a more sure word of prophecy. And the book tells you that prophets are holy men that are moved and spoke as they are moved by the Holy Ghost. So now, we got 7 trumpets with seven angels with 7 trumpets. Skip down to verse 6 and go ahead.
And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound.
And these 7 angels got ready to sound. But remember, the trumpets don't bring the drama. The trumpets always announce what's going to happen. So now, keep your marker here because we're going to be in and out here all afternoon. And let's go into Revelation, the 15th chapter. Revelation chapter 15. And we're going to start at verse 1. Revelation 15 and verse 1. Revelation 15 and 1. Okay, read it.
And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up with the wrath of God.
So now I saw another 7 angels. But these 7 had the 7 last plagues, which was filled up with the wrath of God. Why 7? Is because each one of them going to pour it out after the trumpet blows, sisters and brothers. Skip down to verse 7. Verse 7 and go ahead.
And one of the 4 beasts gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials full of the wrath of God, who liveth forever and ever.
Go ahead.
And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power, and no man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled.
So now that's ain't nobody going to enter into the temple. In other words, sister and brother, Jesus is going to come and this temple is going to be set up on the earth. But man got to go through this first. Ain't nothing going to happen until these 7 plagues, which are going to be announced by the 7 trumpets, is fulfilled. Now let's go back to Revelation the 8th chapter. Revelation the 8th chapter. And we're going to read one verse. Verse 7. Revelation 8 and 7. Go ahead and read it.
The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the 3rd part of the trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up.
Now, once this angel sounded, this guy poured this wrath out. And you see what's happening on the earth. Go to 16. Revelation 16 and verse 1. We're going to be flip-flopping because I want to go with the trumpets and the vials. We ain't going to do every one of them, but we're going to do enough so you understand that the trumpets blow and the vials are poured out and bring drama up on the earth. This is all going to go on the earth, sisters and brothers. And this is the bad part about it. All them people that think they're going to be raptured up, they're going to be right here, going eyeball to eyeball with this. 16 and 1, go ahead.
And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth.
Go ahead.
And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth. And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image.
See, because it ain't going to touch none of his people that he have a mark on. All this drama. But it ain't going to touch one of them. Because the Lord that marked him and his angel ain't going to, just like the angel protected one in the wilderness, then they going to make sure that don't nothing happen to God's servant when he started pouring his wrath out. Now let's go back to the 8th chapter of Revelation and get some more. We're going to go from the 2nd trumpet through the 4th trumpet because we ain't going to go one by one. I have you here all night. Revelation 8 and 8. Go ahead and read.
And the 2nd angel sounded, and it was a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. And the 3rd part of the sea became blood.
Now this is the local place, sisters and brothers. You notice you got a percentage of what's happening. Not the whole earth. But this is what the beast and the false prophet have their rulership over. So this is where the big drama is coming in. 3rd part of the sea become blood. Go ahead and read.
And the 3rd part of the the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. And the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of water.
Go ahead.
And the name of the star is called wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter.
So if you was in that direct area, you really was under the drama, sisters and brothers, because the Lord is doing some big killing here. Go ahead and read.
And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars.
Go ahead.
So as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise.
Now, when he poured it out upon the stars and the sun, you saw the drama that's coming on earth. All this is hurting men, sisters and brothers. But remember, these are the trumpets. This day is reminding us that that is going to come. This is really going to take place. Now let's go and look at the fourth vial of wrath, because we can't do them all. Let's go into Revelation, the 16th chapter. We're going to start at verse 8. Revelation 16 and verse 8. Go ahead and read.
And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire.
Ain't that something? That sun, he's going to pour it out, and they're going to make that sun scorch men with fire. You think it's hot out there today? Keep living. Go ahead and read.
And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which had power over these plagues.
Ain't that something? They're going to be GDing all over the place. You understand? Because of what the Lord's going to be bringing on them. Go ahead and read.
And they repented not to give him glory.
But they still wouldn't give the Lord any glory. They still wouldn't do it, sisters and brothers. Because this man here, he just can't believe this is going down. What verse was that?
We just finished 9.
Okay, go ahead.
Go to
no, let's go back to Revelation 8 chapter. But I'm looking at this, sisters and brothers. Can you imagine it's getting so hot that you can't do nothing? I'm talking about so hot that it's scorching you like you're on fire. Hair might be on fire. And still, they ain't giving God the glory. Remember, these are people that were not mobbed. These people that they just ain't accepting God. That's why he's bringing some real drama on them. Now back to Revelation 8 chapter, and we're going to read verse 13. Revelation 8 and verse 13. Okay, read it.
And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels which are yet to sound.
He said, now the angel said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, these are worse than what we just got through getting. These last 3 trumpets are worse than the first 4. That's why I said, whoa, 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 by reason of the trumpets which are begin to sound. So the drama gets worse, sisters and brothers. Let's go into Revelation, the 9th chapter now, and we're going to start at verse 1, rather. Revelation 9 and 1. Revelation 9 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit.
Go ahead.
And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit.
Now, this ain't no literal pit. This is a great army that's laying over there in Western Europe that ain't nobody paying no attention to. It's in a pit by reason of the fact that ain't nobody paying it no attention. Everybody talking about Russia and America. But that common market is festering over there like a sore. And more and more and more, they putting their thing together. Russia going to have a big army. They're going to have all the Eastern Bloc. Western Europe going to have a big army. That's going to have 10 armies and 10 more than just, and all the rest of the armies going to be under them. And they're going to bring a lot of pressure. America, 1 army. All of a sudden, we're going to find out where the power lies, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read. What verse?
Verse 3. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power.
Go ahead.
And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads.
See, the Lord's hurting these people. And he's going to send these Western Europe after Eastern Europeans and anybody else that don't have the mark on them, sisters and brothers, the mark of God on them. So John didn't know, how could he identify these modern weaponry? So he compared with something else. Well, this looked like a locust. This looked like a grasshopper with wings. You understand? This looked like a horse with men's head on it, with long hair. He was doing the best he could, but we looking at it. So they come out of the bottom split. That means his army was mobilized. Go ahead and read.
And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man.
See, this is why I said 5 months after the heaven to roll back like a scroll, everybody's looking at Jesus, sisters and brothers. While all this drama is coming down. Now all of a sudden you got Western Europe torturing Eastern Europe, either with germ or either chemical warfare. They didn't want to kill them. They even have a catechism, sisters and brothers, said pray for Russia. The West don't want to kill the Eastern Europeans. They want to put the whole Roman Empire back together, which included East and Western Europeans. Y'all understand? This is this guy that's going to be heading up this common market nation. He don't want to kill Russia. He don't want to kill Bosnia or Poland or none of them people that's east of the Euphrates. He wants to convert them, bring them into the fold. That's why he's dealing with chemical or germ warfare. But when it comes to the Eastern European, they ain't going to look at it that way. But go ahead and read.
Verse 6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them.
Well, that must be some terrible stuff, ain't it? I mean, you trying to die, and you can't. That has to be some real torture when you want to die. Skip down to verse 11 and go ahead.
And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit.
Go ahead.
Whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon.
What's the angel of the bottomless pit? Who is that? Satan the devil, sisters and brothers. Even the Lord told him in Isaiah the 14th chapter, he's going to cast him into the pit. You understand? He is the angel of the bottomless pit. Go ahead and read.
One war is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter.
That first war is when Western Europe is bringing pain on East, on Russia and all their allies, the kings of the East. So it's 2 more wars come. Go ahead and read.
And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar which is before God, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet,
go ahead.
Loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates.
See, these 4 angels holding up the nation. That's the 4 winds. Okay, now that Western started, the Lord said, loose these 4 angels that was bound. They had a job to do. Go ahead and read.
And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay the 3rd part of men.
See, they were bound in the great river Euphrates, and that's the separation, sisters and brothers, between East and Western Europe. So these guys were loose, these 4 angels. They was bound, and they had a job to do. They was to kill a 3rd part of men, sisters and brothers. That's a whole lot of people. You know that? A whole lot of people. What verse?
We have verse 16.
Go ahead.
And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them.
That's 200 million soldiers, sisters and brothers. I guess you could kill a 3rd part of men with 200 million soldiers. There ain't never been an army that big. That let me know that this is more than Russia. Ezekiel called Russia Gog and Magog. He told him to be a shield and buckler to all them people that's on the east. In other words, he's the leader of it, sisters and brothers. And when he put all them armies together, China going to be with him. Iran, which is the old Persian, is going to be with him. And everybody east of Russia is going to be with them. That is where they're going to produce an army that have 200 million soldiers. We're not talking about counting the citizens. We're talking soldiers here. That's a whole lot of soldiers, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions. And out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone.
Now he did all he could to define them. But even the boy said, heads of lion and fire and brimstone come out of their mouth. But we know that was muzzle blast. Go ahead and read.
By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouth.
Now they killed a third part of men. How many of you think that the other side killed? You cannot kill and don't have somebody in yours that kill. You just have more to kill with than they have. But Eastern Europeans kill a third part of men, sisters and brothers. That is a whole lot of men. So to show you where this great army came from, let's go into Revelation the 16th chapter. This is a great army, sisters and brothers. Let's see where they came from. Revelation 16, and we're going to start reading at verse 12. Revelation 16 and verse 12. See, there ain't nobody teaching this, sisters and brothers. That's why the world is sleeping. This thing going to come up on the world as a thief in the night. Yes, they sleeping. And it's a shame. Because when this thing comes, it's bad to know that you need a house when the rain stops. Kind of late then. Verse 12. 16 and 12. Go ahead.
And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. And the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared.
See, remember, the trumpet had to blow. Then the angel with the wrath poured out. So after that sixth trumpet blown, he poured his vial upon the great river Euphrates. We read under the seventh trumpet when it blew. Didn't it say, loose the four angels that are bound in the great river Euphrates? These are the same. Horn blow, boom, angel pour out the vial of wrath. He poured this out on the great river Euphrates, and let's see what happened on that great river Euphrates when he poured it out upon him. Go ahead and read.
And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
Go ahead.
For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty.
Look, sisters and brothers, these spirits ain't nothing but conversation. How can Satan have an evil spirit in him? He is an evil spirit. This is conversation. That's what James said. The tongue is an unruly evil. It brings out the greatest emotion in men. All this conversation and threatening, like this guy here threatening somebody else. If somebody don't come and talk some reason, these conversations going to reap some ugly proceeds. So they gather them to the great day of God Almighty. Wait a minute. Whose battle is this? This is the Lord's battle. And people think that man is bringing it. No, the Lord has called this from the beginning, sister and brother. What verse was that?
We just finished 14.
Go ahead and read.
Behold, I come as a thief.
So that's when he said, behold, I come as a thief. Because ain't nobody looking for it. Now, they done got comfortable with him sitting up in heaven. No, he ain't going to do nothing. He just going to let us do this here. All of a sudden, he going to get up off that throne. Here it comes. Go ahead and read.
Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garment, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
You better have some understanding. You got to watch. That's why the Lord tell you to watch and pray. But if you don't know what to watch for, he going to come up on you as a thief. And your nakedness, in other words, your dumbness, your uninformedness is going to be exposed because you would have ran for cover. And how do you run for cover? When the Lord has come, keep his commandments. That is your shield and buckler. Go ahead and read.
And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
So now the Lord, this is his battle. So he going to take this whole fight because the beast and the false prophet are going to be headquarters in Israel, sisters and brothers, in Jerusalem. So he's going to take this northwest of Jerusalem. That's the valley of Megiddo. That's where all the big battles took place. So he's going to take the battle there, and he's going to intervene. But before he intervenes, he's going to let Russia eat up the landscape. Let's go into Joel, the second chapter, Joel chapter 2. This is what people don't understand. The Lord got his own way of doing things, and he don't care who it is, anybody in the creation he uses for whatever he wants them to be used for. Russia ain't no different. That's why I don't worry about none of that stuff. The Lord got this thing under control, sisters and brothers. All you got to do is know him and know what to do. He's going to tell you what to do to get out of trouble, to stay out of it. He's going to tell you. Because he said, when he pulled out that 6 mile of ramp, first he had to draw that trumpet. So here it starts, the same thing. Joel 2 and verse 1. Joel 2 and verse 1. Okay, read it.
Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand.
Didn't they say in Revelation 6 chapter 4, the wrath of the Lamb has come? And this is the day that it's going to happen. That's the day of the Lord. So let all the people tremble. Go ahead and read.
A day of darkness and of gloominess. A day of clouds and of thick darkness.
Go ahead.
As the morning spread upon the mountains.
Go ahead.
A great people and a strong. There hath not been ever the like.
Go ahead.
Neither shall be any more after it.
Go ahead.
Even to the years of many generations.
That's a great people, strong. So there ain't never been a people like this. Look at sisters and brothers. There have never been a time in history such as now where one group can produce 200 million soldiers. That's a whole lot of soldiers, sisters and brothers. 200 million. I couldn't even write that down. But it's going to be 200. So ain't never been nobody like this. Ain't never seen this kind of military might before, and said ain't going to see it again. Go ahead and read.
A fire devoured before them, and behind them a flame burning.
Go ahead.
The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yeah, and nothing shall escape them.
I guess who can escape 200 million soldiers? They're going to come across that Euphrates River on their way to Western Europe, sisters and brothers, and they're going to kill everything in their sight. You have to do that if you're going to kill a third part of men. But don't nobody know about this. Ain't nobody going to talk about this tomorrow in the Sunday church, sisters and brothers. They don't want to look at this. Oh, that Old Testament is fulfilled. You ain't seen this happen. Skip down to verse 10. Verse 10 and go ahead.
The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble.
Go ahead.
The sun and the moon shall be dark. And the stars shall withdraw their shine.
That'll let you know what time this is going to happen, don't it? They're going to happen when the Lord is getting ready to come. The earth going to shake. Sun and the moon going to be dark. Stars going to withdraw their shine. That's because they're going to fall, sisters and brothers. All of this is going to happen when the Lord bring that great army across that Euphrates, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army.
Before who?
Before his army.
Before his army. Go ahead and read.
For his camp is very great.
Go ahead.
For he is strong that executeth his word.
Go ahead.
For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it?
So I remember a long time ago, brother asked me, you mean the Russians are going to be converted? I said, no. But they're going to revel in the might and the strength that the Lord has given them. They are not worshiping God. They worshiping all this power. We are the superpower. They couldn't care less about God. And they're going to come and they're going to kill everything that they can. So that was the sixth trumpet. Here come the third woe. Let's go back. We finished that, right?
Yes.
Let's go back to Revelation 11 chapter. Revelation 11 chapter. This is going to happen, sisters and brothers. Every year until the Lord comes, I'm going to be reminding you of this. Because the Lord wants guys like me to get up and read this book and remind you that this is going to happen. Because you know how man, and especially Israel, we go to sleep in a minute. God said, I'm going to come over your house and blow your head off. You're going to watch out the window for about 2 hours. He don't come into then you're going to go to sleep, and that's when he's going to kick your door in and blow your head off. Because our attention span is about as wide as a click on an M1. For the young people that don't know about it, that's a weapon, like kick, boom. That's how wide it is. So you have to be reminded every year. Revelation 11 and verse 14. Revelation 11 and verse 14. Okay, go ahead.
The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly.
The second woe is past, and the third woe cometh quickly. Because the biggest woe is when the Lord intervenes, sisters and brothers. No matter what's going on, it ain't going to be nothing like what's going to happen when he intervenes. And the third woe cometh quickly. Go ahead and read.
And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever.
Now that's when the seventh angel comes. Now it's the kingdom of this world that become the kingdom of our Lord and his Christ. Because he ain't going to take you where he is. He coming here where we are. And he going to take it down, sisters and brothers, when that seventh trumpet is blown. Go ahead and read.
And the 24 elders which sat before God on their seats fell upon their faces and worshiped God, saying, we give thee thanks, O Lord God Almighty,
go ahead,
which art and was and art to come,
go ahead,
because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned.
Now they said you've taken to your great power and have reigned. Go ahead and read.
And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth.
You're going to destroy the servant. You're going to reward your servants, and you're going to destroy his enemies. And he's going to do it, sisters and brothers. This is Jesus. Go ahead and read.
And the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in the temple the ark of his testament. And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail.
Now, that was the trumpet, but it's telling you what the vials of wrath going to bring on the earth. So let's go and look at it. Let's go into the 16th chapter of Revelation. 16th chapter of Revelation, we're going to start at verse 17. Because when the trumpets blow, the Lord going to bring some wrath upon this earth. And here, he is intervening, because he's going to take them to the valley of Megiddo. That's why people have heard rumor of the Battle of Armageddon. Sometime. Some of the Gentile ministers mention it sometime. But this Israelite dead minister, he don't mention nothing. But how to get money. Verse 17, Revelation 16 and 17. Go ahead and read.
And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air. And there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven.
Go ahead.
From the throne saying, it is done.
Now over there in the 11th chapter it said it's finished.
That's right.
Same thing. It is done. Go ahead and read.
And there were voices and thunders and lightnings. And there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great.
Go ahead.
And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before God to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. He
said, now when he come, the cities fell, and now it's time to reward Babylon. That's Babylon the Great. That's the European Economic Community. But he also going to give Russia the reward too. Only thing is, he ain't going to totally destroy Russia. He going to leave some of them. Go ahead and read.
And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found.
Go ahead.
And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent.
Now the Lord told you in the 11th chapter that was hell going to fall. Now he's telling you what size it is, about the talent. How big is a talent? I do wonder. 300 and what? 330. Boy, that's some hell, ain't it? When them fall on you, they won't even leave a smudge on the ground. Go ahead and read.
And men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail. For the plague thereof was exceeding great.
Now, this is what the Lord is going to bring, sisters and brothers. When that 7th trumpet is blown, You can look for it, that seventh trumpet. In fact, the seventh trumpet ends everything. Just like the trumpet was blowing when Jesus come down on Mount Sinai, and I do mean Jesus, because you ain't there with the Father at any time. It's going to announce his coming again. Let's go into 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. Because the Lord is just making it clear, sisters and brothers, what you're going to do. That's why we observe this memorial of the blowing of the trumpet, to remind us over and over, it's going to happen. I don't care how many generations it took to get here, it is going to happen. But man don't believe it. That's why you come up with atheists and agnostics. They listen to what's being taught in the church. These people are pretty reasonable. And they can discern that somebody's lying in these religious institutions. However, what their fault is, they never decide, I'm going to take this book and check it out myself. Because if you check it out yourself, and you start seeing what God called among men, then you go back to world history and start reading your history books. You can say, wait a minute, this thing here is for real. I really understood that when the Lord called me to write the four winds of heaven. I started putting that thing together. Actually, I got scared. I said, maybe my faith ain't as strong as I thought it was, because I'm seeing this stuff. Wait a minute. God is for real. Ain't no way he could have called it like he called it. There is no way. First Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. We're going to start reading at verse 14. 4 and 14. Okay, go ahead.
For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him.
And when we believe that he died and rose, so those that died in him, he's going to bring with him. You understand? Let's see how is that, being that they are in the ground and he is in heaven. Go ahead and read.
For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep.
No, sir. Go ahead.
For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout.
For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout.
With the voice of the archangel.
And with the voice of an archangel.
And with the trump of God. And the dead in Christ shall rise first.
Wait a minute. When Joshua and them were surrounding Jericho, when they rounded it, didn't they tell the people, give a shout? The trumpet was blowing and they gave a shout. And the walls of Jericho fell down. Same here when the Lord comes. He's going to shout. And that trumpet going to blow and the world going to fall down. And the dead going to be raised. But I know what he said in the shout. 11th chapter of Revelation. He going to say, come up here. You know them two witnesses that was tormenting the beast and false prophet and all their men and all their servants. Then the Lord going to allow them to be overcome and killed. Say they're going to be how long are they going to be dead on earth? 3 days, right? 3.5 days. Then the Lord going to holler from heaven, come up here. Then it said, and the seventh trumpet came quickly. So they ain't the only one that's going to say when he said come up here. He's going to call everybody that died in his name, or everybody that was living and that was walking in his name. Boom, they're going to meet him in there. And everybody's going to come back down. And what they're going to be, go ahead and read.
Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air.
Go ahead.
And so shall we ever be with the Lord.
Now, for your information, in case you don't know it, this is where they get the rapture from. Okay? But the way we read is that first the Lord have descended. That means he's on his way down, ain't it? So when he blow that seven, when he hollered, come up here, and he blow that seventh trumpet, that means they come up and we meet him in there, didn't it? Didn't it say meet?
Yes.
I don't see where it said nowhere here where anybody turn around. Whether to go up or come down. All we see is meet, and so shall we be with the Lord. The question is, where is that? Nobody ever asked the question. So shall we ever be with the Lord. Well, let's go find out. Let's go into Zechariah the 14th chapter. Zechariah chapter 14. Because that's the question there. So when they say, so shall we ever be with the Lord, I ask them, where is that going to be? Well, you know in heaven. It didn't say that. But it said that he descended. That means he was on his way down. And he hollered. And they met him in the air. The dead rose and the living changed, and they met him in the air. They met. Did they stop? They're going to always be floating around in the cloud. Zechariah 14 and 1. 14 and 1. Zechariah 14 and verse 1. 14 and 1. Okay, read it.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee.
Now, everybody knew about the day of the Lord, but this generation, I always said, this is the dumbest generation that has been since the been of creation. They don't know nothing. Everybody knows that the day of the Lord is coming. And they know it's going to be a bad time. The spoil is going to be divided in the midst of thee. Go ahead and read.
For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle.
That's going to be in the battle of Megiddo down there. Go ahead and read.
And the city shall be taken.
And
the houses rifled.
Go ahead.
And the women ravished.
Now, you know, that's why you got some of them brothers over there now. Let's go back to the land. Go ahead on and you stay there. Your houses rifled, that means they're going to shoot up your houses. They're going to rape your wives and your daughters. And you ain't going to be able to do nothing about it. Go ahead and read.
And half of the city shall go forth into captivity. And the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
Go ahead.
Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle.
Go ahead.
And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives.
Oh, so we know then that he going to keep coming, ain't it? Go ahead and read.
Which is before Jerusalem on the east.
And
the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof, toward the east and toward the west.
Go ahead.
And there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south.
So the Lord is going to come, and his feet going to stand in that day on the Mount of Olives. But then it had to go there because the angel told Peter them in Acts. When Jesus was caught up, and Peter them was looking up at him. Then these two men, which I know was angels, showed up and said, "You men of Galilee, why are you gazing up at this Jesus? This same Jesus that you see going up is going to come back in like manner." And then it said that they left from the Mount of Olives. So now he came exactly the way these angels said. And the Mount of Olives split in the middle, but he didn't come by himself. Go ahead and read.
And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azor.
Go ahead.
Yeah, ye shall flee, like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah.
Go ahead.
And the Lord my God shall come.
And the Lord my God shall come.
And all the saints with him.
And all the saints with him. Where did he get these saints from? They met him in the air. So now we know where they're going to be forever with him on this earth, sisters and brothers. The Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with him, and he ain't going back. Skip down to verse 9 and read it.
And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. And that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one.
So he's going to be king over all the earth. You don't have Buddha, Hare Krishna, or whatever all them. Everybody got so many names for God, you can't even write them down on a piece of paper. You're going to have one name. And at that time, Zephaniah tell you he's going to give the whole earth one language. So everybody going to call him the same name. Because his name going to be one. Now let's go into Matthew, the 24th chapter. Because when he comes, that's going to be at the end of the Great Tribulation. In fact, he's the one that terminated the Great Tribulation. Well, I'll put it like this here. He had terminated the beast and the false prophet's part of the Great Tribulation. And he's going to drop his part of the Great Tribulation on the table. This time cover him too. Because he's going to do some major killing, sisters and brothers. Matthew 24. And we're going to start reading at verse 27. Because you're going to have a man that's going to be in the temple of God. That the Edomites going to build in Jerusalem. And they're going to say, well, Christ is back. Well, he is telling you, no, I ain't going to sneak up on you like that. You're going to see me. In fact, we're going to see him at least for 5 months sitting up there on the throne. Ain't that something? Ain't no secret, sisters and brothers. Because he's the one that's going to bring Western Europe over there and have them attack Eastern Europe with germ or chemical warfare. They're going to want to die, and they can't. They're going to be gnawing their tongue for pain, and the Lord is just sitting there. 5 months, probably sitting at least 6 or 7 months. You understand? But I know to be safe, I can say 5 for sure. Just sitting there. This don't look like no sneak attack to me, does it? Like they're going to steal you off the earth. See, this is what these people are doing. They even made a movie. Ain't that said Left Behind? All of them going to be left behind. And he ain't going to sneak into nowhere. Start at verse 27. Verse 27 and read it.
For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
So look, you're going to see me coming from the heaven. You understand? Just like the lightning. So I ain't going to sneak up in the temple, and people going to say, I'm here. Skip down to verse 29. What time is that going to be? Go ahead and read.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened.
The sun going to be darkened?
And the moon shall not give her light. And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
That's when that's when the heaven roll back. Now here you come now, sisters and brothers. Now, because there's a little time span between it. 5 or 6 months, but he's letting you know what time it is. This is a sign of this is happening no matter where you read it. When you see the sun mess with and the moon mess with and the stars fall, it is talking about one time and one time alone. Letting you know that all the prophets wrote about this, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
Remember, they're going to be calling for rocks and stuff to fall on them. Go ahead and read.
And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Every eye going to see him, sisters and brothers. Every eye. That's what I tell you in Revelation, the 1st chapter. Ain't nobody going to sneak up on this man. You're going to see him. He's going to come in power and great glory. Then here come the return of Israel. Go ahead and read.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
See, sisters and brothers, this ain't talking about the resurrection. This is talking about his people, Israel. They're going to be gathered together from one end of the earth to the other. Because the people that's going to be in the resurrection, they're going to meet him on his way down. That same trumpet is going to call the beginning of the return of Israel. Let's go into Isaiah, the 27th chapter. See, the Lord got it all here. It's all here. All you got to do is read this book. But nobody cares about this is because only Israelites care about what's going to happen to Israel. If I wasn't an Israelite, then I wouldn't be concerned about reading this. Isaiah 27, let's start at verse 12. Isaiah 27 and verse 12. Isaiah 27 and verse 12. Okay, go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt.
Go ahead.
And ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel.
Just let me know that he ain't going to leave nobody behind. One by one, whether he find a 20,000 or 100,000 group together, or whether he find one way back in Can't See, Mississippi. On a farm never heard of. He's going to send that angel, and he's going to get you one by one. Go ahead and read.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown.
Oh, it's got to be the trumpets, don't it? Go ahead and read.
And they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts of the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mount at Jerusalem.
Not only Assyria and Egypt, but the whole world, sisters and brothers. And they're going to be taken back to Israel, because that's where they're going to go and worship the Lord. Jeremiah said, we're going to go with our face crying, with our face pointed thitherward, asking the way of Zion. We're going to come, sisters and brothers. But also, resurrection, that 7th trumpet. Let's go into 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter. Also, see, that trumpet, everything happens when the trumpets blow. If the trumpets don't blow, it don't happen. 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter. And we're going to start reading at verse 49. 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter. And we're going to start reading at verse 49. See, sisters and brothers, the Lord is letting us know. This thing is laid out. All you got to do is listen to what I say. And when the time comes for me to act, you're going to know what's going on. You're going to know what to do. You're going to know where to go. You ain't going to be running around back and forward trying to find somebody. Look, what are we supposed to do now? The famine going to sure enough be near the end. Because the people that's going to do the knowledge going to be gone. 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 49, 15 and verse 49. Okay, go ahead.
And as we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly.
See, this is the image. We bear the image of the heavenly. That's why, bear, sisters and brothers, is past tense of born. That's why you have to be born again. Now, we was born into man's family. Now, we bear the image of man. All of us are flesh and blood, sisters and brothers. We can die. We can't fight. We can't fly. We can't walk through no walls. We sure enough can't tell the sun to go out. In fact, we can't even tell our children to get out. They whoop on us. Because we bear the image of the flesh, the earthly. Go ahead. So we're going to also bear the image of the heavenly. Go ahead and read.
Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God.
Go ahead.
Neither doth corruption inherit incorruption.
You know why? Because there won't be no flesh and blood at this time, sisters and brothers. This is what people don't understand. When the Father brings his kingdom down, there will be no flesh and blood left. There will be no death left. There will be no negativity left at all. Only thing going to be left that's going to be rough at the lake of fire. But then if you do this thing right, you ain't got nothing to do with that. So he's going to come, and flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. Go ahead and read.
Behold, I show you a mystery.
Go ahead.
We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed.
That is a mystery, sisters and brothers. People don't understand that everybody's not going to die, but everybody's going to be changed, even the people that's going in the lake of fire. Go ahead and read.
In a moment. And the twinkling of an eye.
Go ahead.
At the last trump.
Go ahead.
For the trumpet shall sound. And the dead shall be raised incorruptible. And we shall be changed.
It's in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. So what trumpet is that, sisters and brothers? The seventh trumpet. You can't go beyond 7. The Lord said that in the Old Testament. This is what people don't understand. So the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy, is the word of prophecy. When the prophet said it, it cannot be breached. Cannot be breached. That's even when Jesus was on the cross. He could not die until they gave him vinegar to drink. Because the prophet said they gave him vinegar. Then he said, I thirst. They got a sponge with vinegar and put it at his mouth. Then he said, it is finished. And he dropped his head and died. Nobody pays attention to those little details like that. I do. Let me know that God called it and it's precise. So can't nobody say, well, there was an accident. So now, in a moment, in the twinkling of the eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised. We already read that then. That's right. Incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Go ahead and read.
For this corruptible must put on incorruption. And this mortal must put on immortality.
No, sisters and brothers, that's when there'll be no more death. Everybody, but these are the first resurrection. You got some more that's going to come later. But the whole thing at the last trumpet, dead going to be raised. Living change. Earth going to be taken down by God. I mean all of it. He's going to take it over. And then the Lord is going to start to bring his people. He's going to reign, sisters and brothers. And when he comes, that signals what the Bible calls the marriage of the Lamb. Because who is the bridegroom? Jesus. Who is the bride? Israel physical first, and then Israel spiritual. Everybody that comes under the battle. Let's go to the last place. Let's go into Joel, the 2nd chapter. Remember in Joel, the 2nd chapter, this is when this eastern army was killing everybody, wasn't it? Joel chapter 2. Joel chapter 2. Because it is good to read some of this, sisters and brothers. Because people don't read this. And we're going to pick this up where we left off from the first, because I want you to look at some of this carnage since we got a few minutes and this is the last place. So now, let's start at verse 6. Go ahead. This is the garment of God. They're going to be doing everything. They're going to come, and start at verse 5. Go ahead.
Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array.
Now this is talking about Eastern Europe, sister and brother, led by Russia. Go ahead and read.
Before their face the people shall be much pain. All faces shall gather black.
Yes, sir.
They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one of his ways, and they shall not break their rank.
Go ahead.
Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path.
Go ahead.
And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded.
We know they're going to be killed, sister and brother, but it's going to be so many until you ain't going to even miss them. 200 million. Now you talking about 200 million soldiers here.
Right.
Go ahead and read.
They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the horses.
Go ahead.
They shall enter in at the windows like a thief.
Go ahead.
The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shine.
Lord, I want to make sure that you know what time this is going to happen. Only one time. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army. For his camp is very great.
Go ahead.
For he is strong that executed his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. Who can abide?
Nobody, if you ain't on the Lord's side. The Lord's going to be dispensing some real pain here, sisters and brothers. You see these hurricanes and stuff that's going on? That ain't nothing compared to what the Lord's going to do. Go ahead and read.
Therefore also now, saith the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart. And with fasting and with weeping and with mourning.
That's all you got to do. He'll say at the last minute, if you had a heart and you really realized that you was wrong and you repent, you'll be just like that thief on the cross. Your last day might be your first day of immortality. Go ahead and read.
And rend your heart and not your garment.
Go ahead.
And turn unto the Lord your God. For he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil.
He want to save you. All you got to do is be right. At the last moment, be right. Lord, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. That's all it takes if you really mean it. Because he's going to know whether you mean it. He know. And at that time, you're going to mean it. Go ahead and read.
Who knoweth if he will return and repent and leave a blessing behind him? Even a meat offering and a drink offering unto the Lord your God.
Go ahead. Now pay some attention to this. Go ahead and read.
Blow the trumpet in Zion.
Blow the trumpet in Zion.
Sanctify a fast.
Sanctify a fast.
Call a solemn assembly.
I mean, what a solemn assembly. This is bringing the people in, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
Gather the people.
Gather the people.
Sanctify the congregation.
Sanctify the congregation. Go ahead.
Assemble the elders.
Bring them all in. Go ahead.
Gather the children.
Go ahead.
And those that suck the breast.
Go ahead.
Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber.
Who is this bridegroom that's go forth of his chamber?
Jesus.
Go ahead and read.
And the bride out of her closet.
Who is that bride?
That's it.
See, you hid in a closet. Don't nobody know about you. You understand what I'm saying? But all that's going to take place when that seventh trumpet is blown. The Lord going to tear up this nation, this world, like a piece of toilet paper that's wet. And then when he come up out of heaven, he's coming up out of his chamber. And then all these people that the whole world is stumped up on, Gentile and Hamite alike, they're going to find out this is God's wife. Because God told, and that same Jesus said, turn, O Israel, for I am married unto you. And when he come, he going to remarry right in the middle of this wilderness. So now remember, sisters and brothers, every time we deal with these trumpets, we know what it reminds us of, don't we? Of the time that's going to come up on this earth when the Lord is going to settle it. And every time he settles something, the trumpet's got to blow. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for tuning in to today's lesson. If you are in the Chicagoland area, we welcome you to join our church community every Saturday at 12 noon Central. We are located in Riverdale, Illinois at 520 West 138th Street. Our ministry is made possible by your donations. To make a donation or to view all of our locations across the world, please visit our website at www.theisraelofgod.com.